It's another beautiful day here in the shop. So let's head inside and see what Renee is up to in the kitchen.
Many people try English muffins once and never again. The dough is too sticky, the results unpredictable. But this recipe is different, and I'll show you why. Okay, so the first step we have here today is to take whole milk and put it into a pan, and some butter. And we're going to heat that up, and I'm going to put that on a medium heat. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to just melt the butter and warm this up so that we can put the yeast in. And you don't want to get this too hot. Just want that butter to melt, and then you want to be able to stick your finger in it for 10 seconds. That's an old trick I learned long ago. If you can stick your finger in it, but it feels warm, but you can keep your finger in there. And this is not a test of how tough you are. This is just comfortably keeping your finger in there. If you don't have a thermometer, if you do have a thermometer, it's somewhere between 110 and 115 degrees. That's perfect. I'm going to take that off the stove, put that right there, and get my mixer. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some flour, sugar, yeast, and salt. And then we're just going to mix that up, make sure it gets combined. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is add our milk and butter mixture on low speed until it gets combined. And now that is combined, and we're going to turn the mixer speed up to medium high, and we're going to let that go for 2 minutes. It's a really easy recipe. It's actually an old Mennonite recipe that I have used for years for these English muffins. And I've tried all kinds of other recipes. This one's the easiest, and it's also the best. I love these English muffins. It's just a very easy recipe. You just want that mix. This is basically an enriched dough that you're making here. You can see how smooth that's getting. Okay, so this looks really smooth. Let me get a spoon and show you what it looks like at this point. So it's mixed really well, and it looks nice and smooth. Now we're gonna add a bit more flour and 1 large egg at room temperature if possible. If not, it's okay. It'll just take it a little bit longer to rise. I always like to mix my eggs up before I put them in so it mixes better. Put that egg right in there. And now we're going to mix that again. We'll let that get well combined. Okay, so that's getting stretchy and it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So now what we're going to do, I've got 2 cups of flour here, or 240 grams, and I'm going to use only enough to make a stiff dough. So we're going to start by adding a little bit over half, just from experience sake. I know I'm going to need most of this. And then I'm going to turn this on low. And gradually turn it up so I can get that mixed together. And I can tell right now that's not forming yet, so we're gonna put some more in there. And we're just gonna keep this at low. Put the rest of that in. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone for a minute and let it just sit there. I think that's good enough. Take this out. And we're gonna give this a good stir. Scrape that away from the sides of the bowl. And that's exactly what you want it to look like at this point. All right, so we're gonna flour our board. We're gonna take that out and put it right on the counter. And then we're just gonna knead that a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit more flour down there. And kneading is just, you're just working that dough so that the gluten forms, but you don't want too much. It's a really nice soft dough, and you don't want to use too much flour on your board because you want it to be, oh, see how beautiful that's looking? Oh, that's a gorgeous dough. We'll just keep kneading. This is the only kneading you have to do on this whole thing. Just looking for it basically not to stick to the counter. Do this for about 2 minutes. See how beautiful that's getting? That is a beautiful dough. Just push and pull, push, fold, just creating some gluten strands in there to make it chewy. And I think that's just about the way I want it to be. That is a lovely, form it into a ball. I just folded that under and perfect. Okay, now we're gonna get a bowl and grease the bowl. You can use vegetable spray, Pam, or shortening, or anything you want, but I'm gonna use butter because this has butter in it, and I don't want to change the flavor profile, so I'm gonna grease my bowl with some butter. Okay, and so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put this in upside down. Make sure that side is greased. And then we're gonna turn that over. We're gonna cover it with a piece of saran wrap or plate. If you do the plate, you have to grease the bottom of the plate, but I'm just gonna use some saran wrap and cover that and let it sit for about an hour and a half. And we'll be back.
Time for the yeast to go to work. Next stop, a hot griddle and a glorious transformation. Right after this. We're back. And the dough. Oh, you're gonna wanna see this.
Okay, so this has risen. It's about doubled in size. It's perfect. So what we're going to do with this is we're gonna punch it down. And we're gonna flour this cutting board just a bit. Lightly flour the board so it doesn't stick. It probably won't anyway, and then we're gonna turn this over onto the board. And now we're going to cover this and let it rise for 15 minutes. And we will then come back and take the next step. Okay. So here we are. Here's our beautiful dough. Look at that dough. That is like gorgeous. It's been resting for 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. I got sidetracked, but we're gonna lightly flour our workspace, and we're gonna put this here. And we are gonna roll this out to 3/4 of an inch. The reason I like this is because you roll them out and you cut them with a 3-inch cutter. There's no forming them in your hands. And so we just want this dough not to get too thin. So let's just make sure we're getting them all kind of even. And then we're gonna measure just so you have an idea of where we are with this. And that's exactly 1/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch. Did I say quarter? Yep. So these are relatively as even as I'm going to get them right at the moment. You're going to take your circular cutter and you're going to cut down on these. And then you're going to put that in cornmeal. Just a little bit. And then when you get done with this, you're going to just pick it up and lightly put it together, gently. And we're going to roll that out again to the same 3/4 of an inch. Whoops, I forgot that one. You don't want to touch it too much because it starts getting stretchy. This is a nice, light, fluffy dough. We're going to do this one more time. I hate touching this dough because I know it's getting stretchier, but they're still really yummy. And then what we're going to do with these, this is the last time, we're going to sit and let these double in size, which takes about a half an hour. And we're going to let those sit. And then I'll show you how to cook them. And it is not baking. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little oil. I have vegetable oil here. You have to make sure it can handle high heat. So vegetable oil is a very good neutral oil. We're going to just rub down. I'm using a flat iron, a cast iron. You can use a frying pan as long as it's not too thin. If it's too thin, you're going to have to turn the temperatures down. I've done it on all kinds of pans. We're going to put this on a medium-low to start. And I will tell you that in the first 2 minutes, you'll know if it's too hot. So we're going to put 3 of these on here. And these are thicker English muffins. I've made these at 3/4 of an inch. You can go anywhere from 3/8 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch on your dough when you roll it out. This makes about 14 this way. This is going to take about 10 minutes on each side to cook. And the thinner ones at 3/8 would take about 8 minutes. But there's a perfect heat on this frying pan, and it's somewhere between medium-low and medium, depending on your stove. Or if you have an electric griddle, it's somewhere between 300 and 325 on that griddle if you have some way to test the temperature of your burner. But I did run a test run and I had it up too high, and this is what happened within the first couple of minutes. It was already, I knew because it was this brown that it was going to burn. And so I immediately turned it down. We're looking for a golden brown for the whole time that we're cooking this. And that's why I always run one test, because the beginning of this especially is difficult. But once you get this, you can just cook them all. So we're going to put this on, and I'm going to put this on for 10 minutes, and we'll come back and check these in 2 minutes to see how the bottoms are doing, and then I'll adjust the heat at that point. Okay, so I love the way that looks. So I've got the temperature correctly done on my stovetop at this moment. So I'm going to leave it right there, and we're going to let those go, and then I'll show you how you can tell if they're done. Okay, we're about 5.5 minutes into the 10 minutes, and those still look golden brown, and that's what you're looking for. And I'm picking these up very gently because I don't want them to deflate. So we're going to keep going with these.
Hold tight. The flip is coming, and it's a thing of beauty. They say timing is everything, and Renee's about to show you how to stick the landing.
So on the side here, you can see how they're starting to crumple up a little bit, and this is the area you're going to be looking at to see if they're done. This will look different than the outsides as the outsides cook, and I'll keep showing you as we go through this. what those are supposed to look like. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. Let's see how these look. Oh, they're looking beautiful. Oh, those are gorgeous. So I'm gonna put the timer on for 10 more minutes and we will just watch those and I'll keep you posted on how the sides are looking. Okay, so this has been almost 10 minutes and I can tell these are getting done. I want these to bounce back just a little bit more. So I'm gonna leave these in for another 2 minutes. I am gonna flip them. And you can see by the sides, they're looking they're not, the temperature is perfect. And so I'm gonna put these in for another couple of minutes. And if you want this process to take a faster time, make the 3/8 of an inch, measure, roll your dough out a little bit thinner than this. I happen to like these this way, but I also make them the smaller ones as well. And they're equally delicious. I just happen to like these and I'm going to use them for some breakfast sandwiches, so they're better like this. Okay, so these look great. This is cooked. The color here is the same all the way through. So I know these are cooked inside and they're bouncing back when if they're not done, they won't bounce back as nicely. So we're gonna turn this off and we will come back. Try not to cut these open when they're hot. They need to, finish cooking inside and they need to just sit for them to be perfect when you open them. You can eat them this way, but I suggest waiting until they've cooled off a little bit. Okay. Okay, so here are our first 3 English muffins that we did. This is the one that I kept showing you, and these are the 2 that I didn't touch. I just wanted to show you the difference in the way these cooked. I mean, this one deflated because I kept touching it, which is okay because I wanted to show you what it was about. It's important, except for you need to have one test one that you keep looking at the bottom, because you do want to keep looking at the bottom gently, but just use one English muffin to test them. This is a very easy recipe. The cooking is a little bit picky, but if you just get the temperature right on that first test muffin and then don't touch them as they're cooking except for one muffin just to keep an eye on it, you will be golden. And even if they deflate, they're still delicious. But those are the tips I can give you on this. And I'm gonna pop one open and show you what it looks like inside. All right, so I don't cut these because you lose any nooks and crannies that are in there. So I just take a fork and push through until you hit what seems like it's the middle. And I just go all the way around. And look at that. You've got nice nooks and crannies there. I mushed that a little bit, but that is a perfect looking English muffin. Oh, and they smell so divine. So I'm going to take a quick bite of this just to make sure that they taste right. They're perfectly done. Oh my gosh, those are so good. And you think they can't taste any different than the store-bought ones, which I eat too. They're so much better. Give these a try.
Renee promised me a sandwich. Egg, bacon, cheese on this muffin. We might need a part 2 for this video. We've got more great videos for you to watch. So, until next time.
Thank you.